Hey all, so I'm going to talk about 5 tips to help prevent yourself getting bashed or farmed. Unlike previous videos though, I'm going to cover both OGame and OGameX in this video. So this is my OGame account. You can see the points over here. And this is my OGameX account with 36 planets scrolling all the way down like that. If you want to check the points on this though, you have to go over to the statistics like that. I'm doing pretty well here actually, and hopefully we'll continue to gain ranks here, maybe even getting a higher rank than my original OGame account. Alright, so I think the first tip I'm going to cover is to spread your planets out. Don't put all your planets in the same system. There's quite a few reasons for that. Firstly, if you put all your planets in the same system, someone can relocate and start attacking all your planets and moons. They could also start destroying the moons, and that's a major problem. It also gives you more farming options if you spread out your planets. You can see what I've done here. 2 in Galaxy 1, there's 3 in Galaxy 2, 3 in Galaxy 3, then the upper galaxies have 1 planet apart from 8 and 9. There's no planets in Galaxy 7 yet though. I did used to, but I decided to relocate them. So on OGameX it's a little bit harder as there's only 5 galaxies and I have 36 planets, but you will see here I do not have more than 1 planet in any system. Been very careful to make sure they are all spread out as much as possible. Lots and lots of planets here though, so as I mentioned it's quite a bit harder to spread them out, but I think I've done a pretty reasonable job here. Since it's 6 times fleet speed, it's very easy to destroy moons, so if I put all my planets nearby to each other, someone could quite easily destroy all of the moons, find my fleet and then probably hit it. So there we go, I'm pretty happy with what I have done here and probably won't need to move about the planets too much later on. So the second tip I'm going to cover is to build defense. On the original OGame, defense will protect your account to a certain extent. If you're leaving huge profits about though, defense won't really do anything. But if you're not leaving too much about, then this is kind of the maximum you really need, as long as you clean off your planets each day as well. I'll get to that a bit later on in the video. Plasma turrets with fodder like light lasers and rocket launchers seems to be the most effective combination, so that's what I'd recommend building if you are going to build defense. On OGameX it's quite a bit harder as defense does go into debris here. You can see here 5%, so if you build too much defense, someone may just hit it for the debris. If you are going to build defense here though, I'd recommend having a bit. What I'd recommend doing is just building a large amount of the light laser turrets and then a small amount of the other defences. The limited defences over here are okay, but just building light lasers seems to be the most effective defense. Bear in mind though, no matter what defense you build, it's still possible to take it with 0 losses, so I wouldn't go too overboard with the defense and just keep it at a minimal sort of level and just take the risk that you may get hit occasionally anyway. So the third tip I'm going to recommend is to clean off all your planets and moons at least once per day. On the original OGame you can keep some ships on the planet. Then when it's time to go offline for you for more than a few hours, just deploy all the res to one of your other planets or moons. So I'll do this quickly as an example. Let's bring up one of my moons. There we go, that one there. Then deploy, then sort of deploy it for when you're going to be online again. I've just picked a time at random here. All resources, then send fleet, then just repeat that on all your planets. And that's done really quickly. A nice easy way to clean off your resources. On OGameX it's actually quite a bit easier. you can automatically gather all resources from all planets and moons to the current planet or moon you are on. So all you do here is select the collect resources option, the cargoes, all the planets, then collect resources like that, and it automatically sends cargoes across to your other planets or moons depending on what you selected. Now that was just done as an example with 1 billion cargoes. Normally I would use a lot more. My main fleet is currently on Fleetsave though. There is also another option that's quite useful, the gather resources, but that requires you to leave ships on other planets. Then the ships will automatically remove the resources and then put them on the current moon or planet that you are on. I don't recommend leaving fleet on your planets or moons though when you are offline. The debris is simply too high here. 80% debris, you can see, makes pretty much everything profitable. Okay, so now on to tip number 4. This is to minimize the usage of anything that creates debris. If we go over to the resources, you can see here I have no solar satellites, but I do have fusion reactors instead to create the energy. I do have crawlers. If you do that though, it keeps the debris a bit lower, maybe puts some players off from attacking you. Plus you also have a stable energy source if you do this that cannot be destroyed by other players' attacks. There's not much point in building solar plants. If I just bring this up, you can see the energy is pretty much useless for all the levels. Fusion reactor though, if I bring this up, with a decent level of energy tech, the energy it creates at these sorts of levels is really high and more than enough to power all the mines and crawlers that I have. My setup on OGameX is pretty much identical actually, except the planets are not all in slot 15 like they are in the original OGame. If we go over to the resources page, you can see I have a fusion reactor level 30, and that's enough to power the mines at this sort of level. The fusion reactor on OGameX is actually really good and rarely used, so it's something to consider later game anyway. You can see what it produces, but you do need a high level of energy tech. Mine is currently level 50, you can see here. Now if we go back over to the shipyard, you can see I have crawlers as well. That's the maximum amount you can build on OGameX. 100 million. Those are so cheap though compared to the amount of resources you get. You might as well just build them. Defense does also create a bit of debris here, but I've still gone for some, you can see, mainly focusing on the light laser turret. There's also the Empire protection as well, which is quite useful on this version of OGame. You can see here, protects your entire empire. And that's something that most players seem to use quite a lot of. And vacation mode as well. And that may be something you will need later game when your mines get to a really high level. So my final tip for this video is do a proper fleet save. Don't do a fleet save to a colonization mission or an expedition or debris field or even attacking an inactive. The only real safe way to fleet save is to deploy between 2 moons. So if I bring up a small fleet, I will just use 1 cargo in this example just for the sake of fleet saving. Then let's pick this moon here as it's quite nearby, deploy and then time it for when you are next online. We're going with that here, that's just an example. Then send the fleet. Don't do any other types of fleet save. Colonization will get timed back if the moon is destroyed. Debris, if someone's watching the debris field, they can time you back from that. Inactives, you can see if you lanks the inactive. And an expedition, you're risking losing all your fleet anyway. It's exactly the same story on OGameX, except it's completely essential you deploy between 2 moons here due to how easy it is to destroy the moons. I'm just going to go ahead and show you my current fleet save here, I just picked 2 moons at random, so it's almost impossible to catch the deployment unless you destroy every single moon, and my fleet is not really big enough to make that worthwhile. So yeah, I'm happy about openly showing it during this video. I can guarantee I won't be using those 2 moons again in a hurry to deploy my fleet to fleet save. And there we go, I think we're about done with this video. I hope you found that interesting. So it's quite fun to compare the 2 games. They may both look similar, but they do actually require very different strategies, believe it or not. OGameX is a lot harder, may I add. However, it's easier to build up your account quickly here, especially with the inactive farming events. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. I've included a previous video on the screen, plus a playlist, plus you can also subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.